Welcome everyone, I'm Adam. In this problem, for a given vector v with components 2, -1, and 2, we're going to be finding a unit vector in A, the direction of v, and B, the opposite direction of v. So we'll get started with part A, finding a unit vector in the direction of v. So how we find a unit vector in the direction of a vector, which we'll call u, is the same in 3 dimensions as it was in 2 dimensions. We're going to take 1 over the magnitude of our vector v, which is a scalar, and multiply it by v. So again, what we're doing is we're simply taking the vector v and scaling its length down by 1 over its magnitude to give a length of 1. So to compute this, what we need to find is our magnitude of v. So the magnitude of a vector, it is the square root of the sum of squares of its components. So the square root of v1 squared plus v2 squared plus v3 squared. Where in our vector v, v1 is our first component, v2 is our second, and v3 is our third. So this is equal to the square root of our first component, 2 squared, plus quantity -1 squared, plus 2 squared. So adding these together, 2 squared, 4, plus 1, plus 4 is square root of 9, which is 3. So that's our magnitude. So then our unit vector is going to be equal to 1/3 times v, where v is our vector, again with components 2, -1, and 2. And again, scalar multiplication with a vector is we simply take that scalar and multiply each component by that scalar. So 1/3 times the vector 2, -1, 2 is going to give us the vector 2 times 1/3, or 2/3, -1 times 1/3, or -1/3, and 2 times 1/3, 2/3. Now when you're looking for a final answer, both are acceptable, leaving the scalar on the outside or multiplying through on the inside. Okay, so that's our unit vector u in the direction of v. And next we want to find, part B, a unit vector in the opposite direction of v. So how do you find a vector in the opposite direction of a given vector? Well, let's take a look over here. So we have our xyz plane, and let's suppose we have some vector u going here. So to find a vector in the opposite direction, well, that's simply taking the negative of that vector. So if we have a vector u here, a vector going the same length in the opposite direction would be -u. So simply what we have to do is to find a vector in the opposite direction, which is a unit vector, take our vector u, and just compute negative of u. So negative u is negative, say, 1/3 times our vector v2, -1, 2, or multiplying through with our -1/3. This is equal to -2/3, positive 1/3, and -2/3. So there's our unit vector, in the opposite direction of v. Thank you very much.